Now let's talk about Oregon's Silicon Forest, otherwise known as the tech and semiconductor industry, anchored by Intel out in Hillsboro. Last night marked the one and the only public meeting required by state law involving Governor Kotek's proposal to bring 373 acres of land inside Hillsboro's urban growth boundary. Here's a look at what we're talking about on a map. It's outside the city itself, off Highway 26 and Jackson School Road. There's not much around there right now. Our crews were there last night getting video. Not many buildings and a whole lot of, well, dirt. The plan for the land would be to make it available to the semiconductor industry and attract one of the 3 planned national hubs for semiconductor research and development.
The creation of the National Semiconductor Technology Center, which will have at least 3 large locations around the country. Oregon's long-standing history in semiconductors and having a talented workforce should make our state an ideal location for at least one of those 3 sites.
Now, if you haven't been following along on the story and you're wondering how on earth did Governor Kotek get the power to change Oregon's coveted land use laws? Well, it's thanks to something called Senate Bill 4 that the governor signed into law on April 13th of 2023. It basically is a state version of the CHIPS Act, the federal effort putting billions of dollars towards bringing semiconductor manufacturing back to the U.S. instead of relying on other countries to make them for us. Under Senate Bill 4, Kotek was granted the ability to issue an executive order and move a plot of land that's outside an urban growth boundary now into the boundary. There are some restrictions. She will only be able to do that with up to 8 sites, 2 that are any size larger than 500 acres and 6 that are up to 500 acres. Any site that she chooses has to be within 3 miles of the existing urban growth boundary as well. And despite having that power for months now, this Hillsboro site is the only one so far that the governor has used to absorb land. And her power to do that, well, it only lasts till the end of this year. So any other sites on her mind, if any, will have to be chosen quickly. But going back to the meeting last night, opponents argue that Hillsboro has plenty of industrial land already within the urban growth boundary that should be used first. But Washington County Chair Catherine Harrington says, no, that's not really the case.
Expanding an urban growth boundary to allow for the growth that the current UGB lands cannot accommodate is hard. But the Washington County Board of Commissioners supports the work and decision of the governor to add these 373 acres to meet this historic opportunity.
And Hillsboro State Representative Nathan Sosa agrees that the land should be added to the urban growth boundary, saying the financial potential is just too large to ignore.
It means that we would be attracting billions in federal investment, billions in private investment, millions in tax revenue, and thousands of good family wage, living wage jobs for Oregonians. Those are the stakes.
But as we've said before, although the major politicians appear to want Kotek to move forward, that's not the case for everyone. A man who farms near the proposed site brought up a concern that we often hear from you when we're talking about semiconductor expansion.
Once they're paved over, that's it. But another concern is that the farm economies, we need to be next to each other. We need to be able to bring our combines across across a road and not be going through an Intel campus.
The governor has not made a final decision yet, so if you want to weigh in on whether or not she should expand Hillsboro's urban growth boundary in favor of semiconductors, you have until October 30th. We have a link on our website that you can use to comment. It's at kgw.com.